All right, today we're going to conquer rational expressions, okay? We're going to simplify them, add, subtract, multiply, and divide them, okay? So we're going to start off with what is a rational expression. A rational expression is a fraction, basically, that has a polynomial on top and bottom. Okay, so if it's a fraction, all right, if it's a fraction, the bottom of a fraction can never be equal to 0. So the denominator of a rational expression cannot be equal to 0. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, so because we'll use it a little later. All right, so the first thing that we're going to look at is simplifying. All right, so I'm going to do an example, and then I'll put some notes out to the side like I usually do. So simplify x squared minus 3x minus 4 all over x squared minus 5x plus 4. All right, so we just can't look at this and say, well, that's x squared over x squared, so it cancels out, okay? The reason we can't is because it has a minus here and a minus and a plus, so it has signs. So this is an expression altogether. It's not separate or individual from the rest of the problem. But if we can separate it or individualize it from the rest of the problem, then we can simplify. So we're going to do that, and the way that we're going to do that is we're going to factor the top and the bottom. Okay, so if you'll remember, this is a trinomial. We're going to factor the top by FOIL. Okay, so we factor the top, and if you don't remember, it's the x and x. Then I need what multiplies to 4 and subtracts to 3. So 4 and 1, 2 and 2. That's the two things that multiply to 4. So which one subtracts to 3? Well, 4 and 1 does. So this is going to be 4 and 1. And then I need my biggest one to be negative. So my 4 is negative, my x is positive, my 1 is positive. If you don't remember how to do that, you can use your calculator, remember, okay? And let's look at that, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So if you don't remember how to factor by FOIL, you can use your calculator. All right, we're going to need to be in mode 5, number 3. All right, and we're going to put in our original 1, negative 3, and negative 4. So 1, enter, negative 3, enter, and 4, negative 4. And then equals. So if you'll see, you get 4 and negative 1. When you put that back into your factors, you change the sign. So the 4 here was positive. The 4 was positive, so over here it'll be x minus 4. Okay, and then here press equals again. The x that was negative 1, so over here it'll be x plus 1. It's the opposite of its sign. If you don't remember how to factor, you can factor using your calculator if you have one at home. So on the bottom, we're going to factor also, factor the top and the bottom. So we're going to clear this out. Our coefficients are 1, negative 5, and 4. 1, negative 5, 4 equals. So it's a 4. So over here it'll be x minus 4. Change its sign. And then equals, and a positive 1. So over here it'll be x minus 1. Okay, so that's how you factor. Now that these are individualized and separated, Okay, now I can look to see if I can cancel anything. Notice in this parentheses is an x minus 4, and here's an x minus 4. That whole thing cancels out that whole thing. So it leaves x plus 1 over x minus 1, and that would be my answer. Okay, those don't cancel. One's a plus, one's a minus. All right, so that's how you simplify. You factor the top and the bottom by FOIL, and then you cancel out any of the sets of parentheses that match each other. Okay. All right, well, now we're going to move on to adding. Okay, so let's look at adding. All right, just like in adding regular fractions, which you did a long time ago, I know you haven't done it in a long time, you have to get a common denominator, okay? And, you know, like, excuse me, maybe you had 1/2 plus 1/5, and you just multiplied 2 times 5 together to get your common denominator, right? You just multiplied your two denominators together. Well, that's exactly what you're going to do here. You're going to multiply your two denominators together. So you're going to have x times 2 minus x. And that's going to be your common denominator, okay? Then you had to find your new numerator. So to find your new numerator for these, a shortcut is to just crisscross multiply, okay? So what's 1 times 2 minus x is just 2 minus x. Then you have plus 1 times x is just x, okay? Now, if you look at this, my x's cancel, negative x plus x goes away, and I'm left with just 2 on top. And then on the bottom, I'm left with x, 2 minus x, okay? So after you get your common denominator, you're going to get your new numerator by crisscross multiplying, all right? And then you're going to cancel anything out that you can, and then that's just your answer right here. All right, so number 1, multiply two denoms to get common denom. 2, cross multiply to get new numerator. 3, simplify. That means cancel out anything that you can. Okay, we're going to look at another example of addition. So let me flip my page here. I'm looking for an example, sorry. Hold on just a second. All right, sorry about that. Let's look at this example. All right, so again, we're going to get a common denominator by multiplying our two denominators. So 10 times x would just be 10x. Now we're going to crisscross to get our new numerator. So x squared times x would be x to the third. Then plus, then 10 times this whole thing. So 10 times x squared would be 10x squared. 10 times 7x would be 70x. 10 times negative 3 would be negative 30. Okay, nothing really cancels out. 10 won't go into all of these things. If 10 right here went into all of these, it doesn't go into my x to the third, so that doesn't cancel out. And 30 doesn't have an x, so that doesn't cancel out. So this would actually be my final answer right here. That one was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, subtraction is the same exact thing, only this will be a minus instead of a plus, okay? So whenever you do your second part, you have to be sure to distribute that minus. Or you could distribute it before. So let's look at subtraction. All right, so just like addition, all right, so the first thing that I would do is I would get rid of this subtraction, and I would go ahead and change my problem, and I would distribute this subtraction to the second part, okay? So I would say 1 over x minus 1 plus negative 2 over x, okay? So that makes it an addition problem, and now it's just like the other. So I'm going to find a common denominator. It's going to be my first denominator times my second one. Whoops, I don't need that. Okay. And then I'm going to crisscross. 1 times x is x plus, because now it's a plus. And then distribute this. Negative 2x plus 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. So now I can simplify this because these are like terms. So x plus negative 2x is negative x plus 2 over x minus 1 times x. So this would be my final answer. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop there after subtraction. So go in and do those problems, and then I'll do another video for multiplication, division, and whatever else is in this lesson. I love you guys. I miss you. Stay safe.